And after you leave a like, remember to smash the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to my channel as yet. And remember to hit the notification bell so every time I post a video, you can know right away. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. What's up, my YouTube friends, viewers, subscribers, everybody? Welcome back to another banger video. And you guys already know what time it is. It's time to be motivated. Speak less and listen more. You know why? Because whenever somebody do something to you, like betray you or go against you or do something you don't like, if you are really listening from the beginning, then they will literally tell you what they were going to do. Because most times people normally say what they're going to do. They tell you, but you weren't listening because you were busy talking. And to speak and listen at the same time, nobody can do it. Because if you're talking to somebody, you expect them to listen. So if you're talking to somebody and they're talking back to you, you have no idea what they just said because you're busy talking. People will literally tell you exactly what they're going to do to you. If you were listening, you would have heard. But you didn't hear because you were busy talking, as I've said. A good listener is a good learner. You know why? You'll be surprised of the things you'll hear when you listen more and speak less. Especially in your workplace industry. That one co-worker that didn't like you, that you didn't know from when, like you just found out that co-worker didn't like you after you worked with them for over 10 years. They didn't like you from the first week you started, but you weren't paying attention. That's why you didn't know. If you go in a relationship with someone and somebody is like, if you go in a relationship, somebody will literally tell you the type of character they are in the beginning from previous relationships. They will literally say it. But you didn't hear because you're busy focusing on something else. Or you were busy talking. Sometimes it's best to speak less and listen more. Like, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at the things you will hear when you listen more and speak less. You know why? Because when you're working with someone or you're in school, wherever you're with a group of people. If you listen more and speak less, you'll be surprised of the things you'll hear everybody talk about. You will hear who have a crush on who was smashing who was doing this, who. Like, you will be so surprised. But you know the reason why you don't know nothing? Because you're the one that's always talking. And if you're talking, you expect everybody to listen. That's why you didn't hear. If somebody go against you, like a friend, brother, cousin, family, anyone, somebody went against you. And you're sitting down wondering why they went against you. If you were paying attention from before, then you would have heard. Because when they say, oh, you think you're better than me, or you think this, or you think that, they literally say it. So they will tell you what they're gonna do. And then there's a silence in between, they make that move. You never notice, like when they go silent, that's when you start worrying because you weren't paying attention from before. So when they went silent, now you sitting down wondering what's going on. You have no idea. And then when they do something, the first thing you will say to yourself is, how couldn't they do this? How could they do this to you? But if you were listening before they went silent, then you would have heard. If you're dating a guy or a girl that like to go all over the place with different people, they will literally tell you that that's how they are in the beginning. People literally say who they are. I don't know how a lot of people not know this. Like if you go around others, they will literally tell you who they are. They will tell you what they like and their dislike. They will tell you what they tolerate and what they don't tolerate. They will tell you exactly whatever you want to know without even noticing it because they're the one that's talking. So when they're talking, they expect you to listen. Because you can't talk and listen at the same time. That's impossible. And then you're sitting down in the same spot wondering why somebody betrayed you. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Now that you hear me say it, I dare you. When you go around people or coworkers or wherever you go, a bunch of people, whenever you go around with anybody, listen. And then you will hear a lot of stuff. And then you will decide what if I say if it's correct. Because you can go to school, you can be the same class with a lot of people, and you didn't know two people were dating until one day you sat down and you start observing. Then that's when you notice that two of your classmates are dating. You ever wonder how you didn't notice it before? That was because you were busy talking and blabbing. Or I should say talking, because talking and blabbing is the same thing. But blabbing is more like, talking is more like, So you guys know what I mean. Speak less and listen more. Because trust me, the things you will hear when you listen more, you have no idea. And as I said, I dare you to do that. Whenever you go on, whether even a family function, if you're the family disappointment, then you probably still don't know, because you're still talking and hating on everybody else. You didn't take the time out to sit down and listen. Especially if you're with a partner and something's affecting them. And before they go silent, they literally tell you what's affecting them before they go silent. But you weren't listening because you were busy yelling back and forth. And then when they go silent, then you start sit down and wonder. Like, especially before a person break up with you, you have to do something and they tell you that they don't like it, and you keep on doing it. And then they went silent, and then they break up with you. And when they break up with you, the first thing you say is, why did you break up with me? They literally tell you what was bothering them. And I'm not talking about females or me. I'm talking about relationship in general, because male is not always at fault. So I'm talking in general. But after the breakup, the first thing one says, how could they do that? You may done something in the past. You probably did something, or you say something that you hurt their feeling. You did something. And they tell you that they didn't like it. And then you kept on doing it. You kept on doing it. You kept on doing it. You want to know why you didn't hear what they say? They said it, but you didn't hear it. Because you were busy going back and forth. So at the end of that discussion, you have no idea what's truly bothering your partner until they go silent. And then they call it quits. So I dare you, listen more and speak less. Because when you listen, you can know what's bothering everyone. A good listener is a good learner, because you learn a lot of things when you listen, and you find out a lot of things when you listen. And there's a difference between listening and hearing. Don't get me wrong. You guys don't say, oh, but when somebody was yelling at me or somebody was saying something, I hear. There's a difference from hearing and listening. You can hear something, but you're not listening to it, if that makes sense. You ever notice somebody can be sitting right next to you, but they're talking and you can hear, but give it 5 or 10 minutes, you can't remember what they were saying. That's because you weren't listening. When you're listening, that's called paying attention. So there's a difference between hearing and listening. There's a difference. If you didn't know then you know now. Especially if you go to school and your teacher is teaching something on the board and they say something. You will literally sat down in class looking at them when they do it. Say it's like a math. They literally show you how to do it, an example of how to do it. Then you sit down and you were looking. Then the teacher called you. When you went to the board, you have no idea of what to do. You're trying to sit down and you're trying to remember how it was, especially if they erase the example that they did before they call you. Now you're sitting down wondering how you can't remember. That's because while they were talking, you're probably zoned out and you're hearing a lot of things, but you are not listening. The difference between listening and hearing, as I said, is you can always hear things, but you're not listening. Listening means you're paying attention. So if somebody's talking to you, when you look at them, you listen and you respond. If you're not responding to them, then you're just hearing. So if you're yelling back and forth with somebody, you're not listening to them. Because if you were listening, then you wouldn't be talking. So don't say, oh, Ty, me and this person was arguing and I heard everything they said. Then why can't you remember everything that they say? Why, whenever they call it quits, now you're sitting down wondering why everything happened. People literally tell you. If something ever happened to you, and then you're sitting down wondering why, think all the way back to before they went silent. Because before people go silent, they tell you. And the reason why they go silent is because they're tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again. Especially in a relationship-wise. If one partner is being disrespectful, the person that's being disrespected, they will say, oh, I don't like how you talk to me. I don't like how you treat me. I don't like how you said this to me. I don't like how you do that to me. They will literally tell you. But you know why you didn't change anything? Because when they were saying, oh, I didn't like how you talk to me, you're busy saying, but you talk to me the same way. So you heard what they say. but you weren't paying attention, because after everything you're so riled up that you can't even understand what was going on. You're so riled up for absolutely no reason, or because a person say to you, I do not like how you're talking to me, I do not like how you're treating me. But guess what? You have no idea. It's after they went silent, then you're sitting down wondering, how come that person haven't talked to me in a week, a month, 2 months? Oh, that person is my partner. How come I'm not hearing from them as much? Or that's my friend. How come I'm not hearing from them? Or that's my favorite coworker. How come they're not talking to me as much? If you were listening when they were talking, then you would have known what to fix. But you have no idea of what to fix because you were busy talking when they were explaining themselves. Speak less and listen more. You can save yourself a lot of problems. You can save yourself a lot of things, and you can actually remove yourself from things before it expand. Before something become a big deal, you can always remove yourself. You ever notice why you're always in like drama or some stuff? That's because you hear what was going on and you sat right there. So when anything happened, oh, go ask that guy. That guy was there. You probably have no idea what was going on, but you were there. You may not be listening, but you heard. And then you're there sitting down and thinking all the way back to see who said this and who said that. You heard it, but you weren't listening. Same with relationships. You heard what your partner said, but you weren't listening. Same thing in school. You heard what the teacher said, but you weren't listening. So you can hear something and you're not listening to it. You can always hear some, like people always say, oh, I heard you. I hear what you say. Tell me what I just said. No idea. You can be explaining something to someone and they're sitting down like, yep. Afterwards, you ask them let me use this for a better example. And I'm the type of guy, and the reason why I decided to use this is because I'm very bad at this too. You ever met somebody for the first time and they introduced themselves and they said their name, but at the end of the conversation, you're sitting there wondering what did they say their name was? I'm very bad at that. That's why I know. Because if somebody introduced themselves to me, I'm not like saying I'm trying to get to know them, or I'm not interested. Or let's say if I'm out in public and I see somebody need help, then I try to help them. They're like, oh, thank you. My name is this and this and that. After everything, I'm like, what the hell did they say their name was? I heard it, but I wasn't listening. So how much times have you met somebody that you're not interested in, and they said their name to you? You heard the name, but as time go by, it was not registered because you weren't listening. You weren't paying attention. You just went, oh, you need help? Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. My name is Keisha. Oh yeah, my name is Tyvon. Okay, blah 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 blah. Bye. Give it 5 minutes. After everything, oh, thank you very much. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Boom. You're gonna tell your friend, oh I was busy helping one lady today. Oh, what's her name? What she say her name was? Tanya? Teresa? Shante? You have no idea. And I know, because I'm that type too. I'm very bad with names. That's why before I learn somebody's name, they have to like be around me for quite some time, because there's no point of me using my brain power to remember somebody's name. I probably won't see nor talk to them again, and they're bringing nothing towards me, or we're not aiming for the same thing, if you know what I mean. So I know what it's like to hear and not listen, because you can turn off your brain when some, especially for guys that are like married and they're living with like naggy wives. When your wife is going on, you just lay back and you just go like this. She's talking and you're hearing everything that she's saying, but you're not listening. But I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the reason why you were betrayed by anyone, and the reason why somebody treat you wrongly. That's because you weren't listening. And as I've said, people will literally tell you exactly what they're going to do to you. Example, before somebody cheat on you, they literally tell you that they're a cheater, or they will tell you that they're here, and because you think it's a joke, you didn't even do nothing. Especially like guys, a girl can ask her man, oh, where are you? Oh, I'm at my other girl's house. And they're like, ha ha ha, oh, where are you? I'm at my other girl's house. Okay, you stay there. They literally say where they are, what they're doing. Like, if you listen to people, they will literally tell you that whatever it is, that's the way it is. They will literally say it to you. Especially for girls. If a girl like a guy, She will literally tell the guy that she like him without even saying I like you. And for guys, if a guy like a girl, they will literally say that they like you. People will literally tell you they like you or they don't like you or they're not interested, even if they don't use words. Because like you can go up to someone and you like them and you're trying to get their number. But depending on how they respond to you, especially with their body language, they literally tell you they're not interested. Because I've seen guys go up to girl and the girl's like, and they're like, hey, and then all of a sudden she turned away, hey, and the guy's like, so what's your name? Oh yeah, I don't talk this straight. How you not know someone is not interested? And what affects me the most is when guys keep pushing when they see that she's not interested. You know what I mean? Like people will literally tell you if they're interested. If you can't read their words, or if you can't hear their words, you can't listen to their words, then you watch your body language. Because me, I'm very good at reading people's body language. I've been in public countless times and seeing guys hitting on girls, girls hitting on guys, everybody doing a bunch of stuff. And then at the end of the day, they have no idea what was going on. And in my head, I was like, if that person was paying attention, they would have got their feelings hurt. And if that guy was paying attention, he wouldn't have got robbed out there. And if that one was doing this, then that wouldn't have never happened. I'm that type of guy. So I can see situations, see like things happening around people, and then stuff happens and they sit down and wonder, how can somebody rob me? You not see them looking at you. You not see them walking behind you before they chase you. How you didn't run? But like I say, you can be so surprised of the things that you will hear when you listen more and speak less. Trust me, you will hear a lot of things when you listen more. Try it. Don't always be the one that's talking, because if you're the one that's always talking, then that means everybody else is always listening or hearing. Don't be that guy. Be the other guy for a change. Learn to listen. Just listen. If somebody's talking, just listen to them. How you think a person know a lot of stuff? That's because they read a lot or they listen a lot. If you're reading something, you're not like hearing the words you're reading unless you reading it to yourself and you have a wide imagination where you can visualize the whole book. But people that listen more, they know exactly what's going on. Everybody have that one person in school that know everybody's business but not friends with nobody, because they're always listening. Everybody have that one coworker that's know everybody's business, that's silent. Why do you think people that are quiet know everything? You never wonder why that silent kid know your business even more than you? You ever wonder why that silent kid know that your boyfriend or girlfriend was talking to somebody else down the street? That's because they're silent. So if you're silent, that means you're paying attention to your environment. You're paying attention to what's happening around you. But you have no idea because you were busy talking. So it doesn't really matter what situation you find yourself in, whether good or bad. It don't matter. If you were listening, you can avoid a lot of things. You can avoid a lot of things. How much times have you been in the wrong place at the wrong time? And then afterwards, you're sitting down and saying, oh, if you know that was going to happen, then you would have did this or you would have did that. You were there the whole time. You were there before it happened. But before everything jumped off, you were still right there. You were maybe not paying attention or you were paralyzed. So you couldn't do nothing until afterwards. And you're like, oh, I should have did this. I should have did that. You didn't hear nothing. Because you were busy talking. You can't talk and listen at the same time. You can't yell at somebody and they're yelling back at you. You won't hear not a word they say because you're focusing on what you're saying and you're trying to get your message across. That's the difference about speaking to somebody, talking to somebody. If you're talking to somebody, what you're focusing on is trying to get your message across. That's why you ever notice if two persons is yelling, they always talk loud and loud and loud and loud. They get louder and louder each time because one is saying something, then the other one is saying something. Then the one that said something first noticed that the message was not delivered how they wanted to be delivered because that other person was busy talking. So they raised their voice. And then the other person, the same thing. So everybody's yelling back and forth. Nobody have any idea of what's going on. because two persons yelling back and forth. Then when you sit down and you're trying to figure out where the problem was, they themselves don't even know. Well, they probably know, but they don't remember. Oh, I don't remember. Last thing I remember was that one hitting me. What? But if you were listening, then you could have know where the problem was, but you weren't listening. You were not listening. Like I say, you will be surprised of the things you will hear when you listen more and speak less. Try it. I've said it before. I'm saying it again. Try it. Try it. You can remove yourself out of a lot of situations before it become a big deal. You ever wonder why you're here the whole time and then something happened, and then afterwards when you go home or you're explaining to somebody, you're like, oh, if I was there, I would have left, I would have did this, I would have done that. But why didn't you? You were right there. You were literally there, but you were not listening. You're not paying attention to what's going on around you. I'm the type of guy, wherever I go, I pay attention to everything that's going around me. I may not look it, but I pay attention. Not everyone pay attention to what's going around in their surroundings, because a lot of people tend to think nothing can happen to them. That's why they're always being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they always have bad things happening to them. And they're sitting there wondering, why always me? You were not listening. If you were listening and paying attention to your environment, then you wouldn't have been there. But you are there because you weren't paying attention. Listening is about paying attention. Hearing is about like not caring about what's going on. So how is something happening to you and then you sat right there and you have no idea whatsoever what's going on? That's your response to whatever happened to you. You don't know, but you were there. And then you were sitting down trying to think all the way back to what happened before everything jumped off, and it's sort of blurry because you weren't paying attention. Then how are you gonna know? You will never know. But like I say, speak less and listen more. Trust me. You will hear a lot of things and you will learn a lot of things when you speak less. Because you can't talk and listen at the same time. And as I've said, that's why when you're arguing, or if two people are arguing with each other, they get louder and louder and louder. Because when you're talking to somebody, you're trying to get your message across. You're trying to convince them of how you feel. That's the definition of arguing. Two people trying to convince each other of how they feel without listening to each other. Especially in our relationships with women. Women tend to not listen in relationships. And guys too. I'm not branching off nobody. But if you're in a relationship and you can't listen to your partner to find out what's bothering them or where the problem is, you will never fix it. Because you know why? Your partner was telling you what was bothering them before. But while they were saying it to you, you were driven by emotions and feelings that you're telling your partner something else while they're talking to you. And then you guys sitting down wondering what's going on. When that person leaves you, you're wondering why are you wondering when they said it? And as I've said, people will literally tell you what's bothering them, what they don't like, and what they don't tolerate. People will literally say it to you. If you're working and your boss or somebody or an employee disrespect you or they talk to you a certain way, you're going to tell them before you explode. Before somebody explodes and get out of character, they're always trying to get their point across. The reason why they explode, that's because they think the person that they're trying to get their message across to was not listening. That's the definition of arguing. That's why two people argue back and forth. Because if you disrespect me and I'm here trying to say, bro, you talk to me a certain way, I don't like it. Next time you talk to me, I'm going to knock your teeth straight down your throat. And then you're there saying, oh, but you said this or you did. I'm going to raise my voice too because you're not listening what I'm saying. And then when I raise my voice, you're going to feel the same way. You're going to sit down and say, oh, he's not listening. Then two people yelling back and forth till they start hitting each other. That's because nobody want to listen. And as I say, when you use your ears more and use your mouth less, you will hear a lot of things. You'll be surprised of the things you will hear. You will be so surprised. If somebody don't like you, you will hear. If they like you, you will hear. But what's in your control is pretending whether you're going to go along with it and act like whatever is going on, everything's okay, or you're going to put on a face. That's why if somebody don't like you and they tell somebody else and you didn't hear them say it, you're still friendly. But when a person whispered to somebody else that they don't like you and you hear and you didn't say nothing but you start treating them different, that same person that said they don't like you is going to come around and ask you, why are you different? Because when they said they don't like you, you were not there. So you can't hear. So you weren't listening. But they're like, oh, what's wrong with you today? How you look so different? That's because you overheard them. And now you put up a boundary between you and them. So now you're behaving different. And they're sitting now wondering what's going on. Not know that they tell somebody else they don't like you and you overheard. Especially if they say it to somebody that they trust and the person did not say it to you, but you overheard it. And then you start treating those two the same, because if one person said to another person they don't like you, you will hear what the other person have to say. So if the other person is like, oh, don't say that, that's a good person, then you will decide for yourself if you want to keep that person, like, talking to that person. But if the other person was like, oh yeah, I don't like that, then so that's two people don't like you. And then when you put up a boundary between those two, they're going to come around, oh, what's wrong with you? You're not talking to us today? Hypocrites. But you didn't know that they were hypocrites because you weren't paying attention. So like I say, speak less and listen more. You'll be surprised of the things you hear. Trust me. Try it, and then you tell me if that make a difference in your life. So there you guys have it. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned. Your boy will be back doing more stuff. You go enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I post daily on them.